Okay, story time. So, and that is my cat. Say hi, princess. So, this one time I was applying for something, and my dumbass thought that I had applied for it, but I had not. And I didn't even know that I had not. My bestie called me up and she was like, "Hey, did you apply for that?" And I was like, "No, there's still time." And she was like, "What do you mean there is still time? The time has already run out. The date has already passed." And my world just crashed down. Yeah. But for some miracle, they extended the date, which had never happened in the history of that thing. And I was able to register myself. And it was such an overwhelming moment because that was so important to me. And my bestie was there all throughout the process over the phone. And so that evening, I went over to her house. She opened the gate, and I just flew into her arms, crying my ass out because I was so overwhelmed with emotion and I was so happy. I just couldn't believe it. And yeah, I just hugged her crying, looking ugly as shit. And I turned my eye, and her dad was standing there. Yeah, he was standing there and watching me the whole time. And I was freaking embarrassed. I was so embarrassed. I was like, what the fuck just happened? Girl, that's too much. Pull yourself together. That's embarrassing. So, with that, today's podcast is about vulnerability. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Take 5 Podcast. I'm Sang, and I welcome you all. If you have been listening to our podcast, welcome, welcome, welcome. And if you are new here today, welcome, welcome, welcome once again. Okay, that was too dramatic. Anyway, as you know, with that little story, we're going to talk about getting down and messy today. I was going to say getting down and dirty, but I didn't want to say that because that doesn't really make sense. Maybe it gets dirty when you cry. Tears and all that shit. But anyway, so yeah, today we're going to talk about exposing our weaknesses, admitting to our mistakes, the whole thing. See, the thing is, we can only connect with people when we are genuinely ourselves and we don't mask anything, any part of us. And I wish we could talk about the weather and become besties right away. And some people do claim that you can become bestie after one shallow conversation. They'll be like, oh my god, we're so close now. But that's not really how this works. Let's be real. Have you ever had that moment where you're going through something, right? Like a proper emotional turbulence, like going through shit, just right down dirty shit, right? And someone asks you how you are, and you just say, I'm good, I'm fine, followed by a little smile, right? Convincing. We all do that. I do that too. We act like we're this unshakable, perfectly functioning humans when in reality we're just winging it. Like 90% of the time we're just doing it like Nike, you know? But I know, I get it. Being vulnerable is terrifying. For me, it's like I'm taking off my clothes one by one to this whole new person, right? And I'm hoping that that person will not judge the shape of my body or say something worse like, why is your thigh looking like that? That's gonna be like nightmarish. Just imagine you're doing this and that person is like, whoa, ew, or something like that. I know we don't want to look weak. We think, what if someone actually sees the real me and decides, yeah, no thank you. Or like the overthinkers, you guys go the extra mile and you're like, oh, why should I burden them with my problems? They have enough on their plate. They don't owe me anything. I don't owe them anything. So I'm just gonna silently suffer here in the corner and I'm just gonna never open up. But here's the thing, if we don't let people see who we really are, how do we ever build deep, real relationships? And I'm not talking about surface level friendships where you're just texting memes back and forth and just discussing how the weather is. I mean, I do that with my close friends too, but like, it's different. We don't do that all the time. I'm talking about the kind of connections where you feel seen, you feel understood, where you could call that person at 2 or 3 in the morning and that person will pick it up. Vulnerability is a bridge to intimacy. And yes, intimacy isn't just romantic, it's in friendships, family, even at work. Have you ever noticed when someone admits they don't have it all figured out, you feel closer to them? Like when someone tells you all the shit that they're going through, and you're like, thank God it's not just me. We think people are drawn to our strengths, but the truth is, they connect with our struggles. Nobody relates to perfection. Nobody's like, wow, I just love how flawless you are. It's so comforting. I can so much relate with it. No, no one goes thinking like that. We bond over shared messiness, our failures, and mistakes. And yet, we hesitate. Maybe we've been burned before. Maybe we trusted the wrong person, got judged, got shut down. I know it's hard. I've been there. I know what it's like to trust someone hoping they would take care of that vulnerability you shared with them, but they just didn't care. But if we let our past experiences shut us down, we won't build genuine connection with anyone new ever. And you could like ego talk yourself and be like, I don't need anybody, but shut up. We're human beings. We all need someone in our life. I now have a few real connection with few people in my life that I treasure because I showed them my vulnerabilities despite my past not so good experience with sharing them. But I took courage. And also because they showed me theirs. They have seen me cry, ugly, and I've also seen them cry. I've also seen them in their vulnerable moments. Of course, you don't have to cry to everyone you meet for the first time in the hopes of building a real relationship. The crying comes much, much later on. Or if you're an easy crier like me, you cry easily, then maybe it will come a bit sooner. But anyway, you know what I'm saying. So, how do we do this vulnerability thing without feeling like we're standing naked in front of them? I think first is we need to take baby steps. You don't have to overshare your entire life story on the first meeting. Just start by being honest. For real, that is very important. Be honest. And by honest, I don't mean you say, I hate this job when your boss is asking how you're doing. When you really need this job to pay the bills, I don't mean that. But when someone asks you how you're doing and you're not doing great, then maybe just say, you know what? I've had better days. It could be better. Also, surround yourself with people who make vulnerability feel safe, the ones who don't flinch when you open up. the ones who listen instead of trying to fix you, the ones who remind you that you're not too much for having emotions. And lastly, be that person for others. Because when we create spaces where people feel safe to be real, we get to experience the kind of connections that actually matter. The ones that don't just exist, but thrive. Real connections are built through tenderness, kindness, empathy, and without judgments from both ends. It's like playing badminton or tennis, give and take and give from both sides. And if you find people judging you when you open up, don't bother. Close the gates. Not on everyone, of course, just on that person. You will find your person, or perhaps more than one. But maybe it will take a few trial and error, and that's okay. It'll be worth it. Trust me. So if you're feeling like you have to keep up a certain image, like you can't let people see the cracks, just know the right people, they won't just tolerate your vulnerability. They'll appreciate it. They'll meet you there, and they'll even show you theirs. And that's how you'll know you found your people. All right? So that's what I have for you today. Let me know what you think. Hit us up on Instagram, drop a message, drop a comment on YouTube, whatever it is that you think. All the links are in the description. Thank you for listening. Until next time, take care. Bye.